Welcome back to our kitchen. So tonight is Friday night and we've had a pretty busy day. Today was belt testing for my little ninja. He was going from his yellow belt to green belt in Taekwondo. We had that right after school, so right after Mom got out of school and the kids got out of school. So we left home, we went to run a quick errand, then we headed over to the Dojang. And we actually stayed for the advanced level kids, and we were invited to the black belt testing, so we actually stayed over there. So it's about 8:30 now, and we're really getting a late start on dinner. So what we're going to do is we're going to keep it nice and light tonight instead of making something extremely heavy. We're trying to go lighter as it is anyway, just for some healthy reasons. So what we're doing tonight is I'm doing a fish and kind of like an Asian cabbage stir fry type of situation. I'm really just throwing things together. When I cook, I just cook the things I like and what sounds good to me at the time. So I'm going to get everything started, and hopefully this won't take too long. So in this pan I have 6 tilapia. These were individually wrapped, so I have rinsed them in the sink, and now I'm just going to get them ready for the pan by seasoning. And so, of course, you know I have my handy dandy seasoning basket. And I am going to begin to season up my fish with just a little bit of salt. Just a little salt. I'm going to also take a little bit of the garlic powder. We're going to be doing a sesame ginger. Well, maybe not any of that garlic powder. That's going to go in the trash. There we go. This is garlic powder. We are using a ginger sesame dressing on the cabbage, so I'm actually going to use a little bit of garlic on the fish, and then just a little bit of black pepper to taste, and that's all I'm using out of the spice basket that goes with it. So before I even do anything else to the fish, I am going to put some broccoli cuts that I got on sale last week for $1.87, and this was for, let me cut the wok down, because it is getting nice and hot. Slide that back. So I'm going to do some broccoli cuts that I got on sale at Harris Teeter last week. They were 32-ounce bags for $1.87. The 16-ounce bags at Walmart were like $3 and something. So this was a really good deal, and I actually ended up getting 4 bags. So I'm going to put this in my Pampered Chef steamer. We used about half a bag the other night. I can't remember what it was I was making. But again, we are trying to do some healthy options, so I'm just finishing out that bag. And I'm going to add just a little bit of water for some steam. It's probably about a half a cup of water maybe. And then this is going to go in the microwave to kind of warm and thaw through. But I'm actually going to finish it in the wok. So I'm going to put that in the microwave for about 3 minutes. And we're going to start that. So I am officially done with the broccoli cuts bag, and I'm done with the water. I'm just going to clean up a little. And over in the sink, I do have my cabbage that is heating. So I have my frying pan here, my little skillet that's waiting for my fish, and I do have my wok to do the cabbage. So I've seasoned up the fish, and what I'm doing is just moving it around to kind of get all of the seasonings on each piece of the fish. I don't like to over season because that really is just not healthy for me. So I just pre-season everything, and then I just kind of share the love. So what I am going to do now is just put a little bit of canola oil into my pan just to keep everything from sticking. And I pulled out the butter, but I think I'm actually going to just put a little bit of coconut oil into that pan as well. So I've got the canola oil, a little bit of the coconut oil. And again, I got this at Walmart. This was a great frugal find. It was 2 of these 30-ounce containers for $9.98. So I got 2 of these for $9.98. One we use just for our personal body use, hair, whatever, and then the other we're using for cooking. They are clearly distinguished and not in the same place. So we keep one in the master bathroom and then other one in here. So my fish is seasoned. I've oiled my pan. In this pot, we have a little bit of the leftover rice that I made earlier in the week, and I made a couple cups because I knew I would use some of it later. So that's actually going to go into this wok. So I'm going to get that started. Tilapia does not take long to cook, so I am going to get the wok hot again, doing the same thing. I actually thought I didn't have any ginger sesame seasoning, and so I wasn't going to do the cabbage. But I looked in the refrigerator and I had some of this Maori's marinade, and I'm just going to use that as a light dressing. And then I have a little bit of the raspberry vinaigrette if that's too thick. But that's only if that's too thick. So in keeping with how I do things, I am going to start to just clean up my kitchen just a little bit, putting away some of the items that I'm not going to be using. I'm going to go to the trash can with this and the broccoli bowl. I'm going to wash my pan real fast. And then we're going to lay our fish into the pan. So it's really interesting. I absolutely love to cook. I absolutely love to entertain and have people into my home. And so a lot of people ask me, well, what's your recipe? I really don't necessarily have recipes for anything that I cook. I just try things. Some things sound good together, other things don't. I try what I like, and if for some reason what I like doesn't sound good, I try something else. But for the most part, all of the things that I have tried in the past have just worked out. So in this wok, I do have a little bit of the canola oil. I'm going to add in just a touch of the sesame oil. I don't think I'm using the butter at all. I am going to put that back in the fridge. So I'm just going to add in a little bit of that. And I'm going to show you a great find that was on sale this week at Food Lion. And I think I'm going to use this one. So over in the produce section, they have these little bags of Chef Buddies. This is a southern slaw. It's diced cabbage and carrots. And they had this in the produce section, and they were 2 for $2. So each bag, and these are 16 ounces. So each 1 pound bag was 16 ounces. Now my helper ended up putting this in the freezer, so it is a little bit frozen. So we are going to throw it in the wok and it will unfreeze. I pulled it out, set it in the sink for a little bit. But right now it is still just a little frozen. But that is totally fine. It is going to be okay. This is traditionally probably used for a southern coleslaw, but I don't like coleslaw. So I'm going to just fry this cabbage up and eat it fried. I do like a warm Asian salad. They do have an Asian salad that you don't do warm. And it just has cabbage and regular cabbage, regular red cabbage, and all kinds of other things. And you just eat it cold. But I started warming it in the pan and putting a little bit of rotisserie chicken inside of it. And it's really delicious. And also it had a little bit of the ginger sesame ginger dressing with slivered almonds, but this time we're not using slivered almonds. So I do have that. I'm going to drain off my broccoli because that's also going to go in that wok as well. And the fish is going. Tilapia is a light fish. It's also a white fish, and I do like a light and white fish. I traditionally like whiting, or I grew up on whiting. The thing about the tilapia is it's already filleted. I don't have to do anything to it to actually get it prepped except wash. So that's what makes it easy for me. And again, being a single mom and having to run around and do activities for multiple children, it's just easier for me to do things that don't need additional prep work. So one of my friends said, you could have a show called Semi-Homemade with Shakima. Well, I do a lot of things semi-homemade. Some things I do from total scratch when I have time. But my time is extremely limited, especially being a single parent. And I'm in a couple of committees. The kids do activities throughout the week. So we are extremely busy. To this wok, while the fish is frying, it's actually sauteing in that pan. I didn't use any breadcrumbs. We don't fry in this house to keep down calories and actually note of my blood pressure. So I'm gonna put a little bit of salt in there, a little bit of pepper. Now in traditional coleslaw, this is cold and you use mayonnaise, but I don't like coleslaw, so we're doing a little bit of twist on what should actually be used as a southern style coleslaw with a little vinegar, a little mayonnaise. It's just not something that I like, and I'm not going to have it. But I do like fried cabbage, and this was 16 ounces, but this looks like it's kind of shriveled up a little bit, but that's totally okay because we're going to make it a little bit more hearty by adding in the broccoli cuts, which I actually microwaved for 3 minutes. I don't want to get any water in there. I don't want to get any water. I did drain it, but so I'm going to try to get as much of the water out of there as I can. Using a slotted spoon just to get as much of that water out as possible. There was only a little bit left in there, but I still didn't want it in the wok. And again, I'm going to take all of my dishes over to the dish bowl. I'm going to do a little bit more cleanup. And then there's a couple other things while the cabbage is frying that I'll show you in my kitchen. So I'm going back over to finish up with some of the cleaning that needs to take place. One of the key things about being a single parent and multitasking your life is to really just do multiple things at a time. The food really doesn't need me to kind of stand over it and watch it, so to speak. Once I get it set, then I can actually just forget about it for a few minutes and do something else. So in this wok, I do have the broccoli cuts. I have the cabbage or coleslaw mix. And I do have just some canola oil and some coconut oil. And I'm getting ready to add some of the rice that we had from the other day. And that's actually going to make it a little bit full. This is brown rice. And I cooked this the other day. It's been sitting in the fridge, so it's perfectly fine to use. But I'm just going to make it a little bit full. And I'll do it just like that. I'm going to add in a little bit of the rice. I do have rice fall out, and I am going to pick that up. So I'm done with that. Everything that I'm done with either goes back where it came from or to the trash. And I'm going to start using my garbage bowl again. I'm just going to pick up the scraps that have fallen down. And then I'm going to turn the fish because that's ready. And then I'll show you a couple other things in my kitchen while I'm waiting for everything here to be finished. So I'm going to remove that pot lid. And the fish now has gone from being pink. It's actually white. And it is a white fish. It's very hearty and healthy. And I am just going to flip it over if it will cooperate with me. So I'm going to flip all 3 pieces. Each person gets about 2 pieces of fish. That is equivalent to 1 serving. So I am going to flip this. I hate that it tears apart, but it's still good. You'll notice that's getting a little bit of color on it. Just a little bit of color. So that's doing really well. I'm going to keep the pot lid off so that it can breathe. And I'm going to come back over here and work this wok a little bit more. I remember telling y'all last week that I wasn't really sure if I was loving this wok or not. I kind of like results or hear my food working. This actually doesn't make a lot of the noises that I'm used to hearing when I'm cooking. So it takes a little bit of getting used to. I think it's probably more of a steaming process that I'm used to. But I can tell that things are getting warm and getting hot. And this actually is going to be done really soon. So my handy dandy helper is going to come over to this side of the kitchen. And normally and traditionally what I do is I will clean while I am cooking. So I do have a few things in the dishwasher, and we're just going to go in with the rest of what we have or what we have just used. And we're going to get rid of everything in the dishwasher, and then I'm going to show you a little project that I'm working on. So everything will go in. We we had previously loaded the dishwasher earlier, so we just have a few things. We will run this tonight. This will run before we go to bed. So we've got everything in the dishwasher that should be in the dishwasher. I was going to put a few yellow onions in, but I don't think I will do that. I mean, a few green onions, but I don't think I'm going to do green onions tonight. I'm just going to save it for the next time. We did the sweeping, so we don't have to do any sweeping. We do need to do some vacuuming, but we will keep that for tomorrow morning, because traditionally around here, Saturday is clean day. So here's something that's really exciting, and I'm going to show you this. I don't like this cup at all. This is my son's lunchbox, which I'm going to unpack for him since he forgot. Lunchboxes do go in the pantry closet. And this goes in Mom's office, which is just around the corner. Alright, so normally we have this soup tureen and dish that I put my fruit in. But we happen to be in our local Roses in town from where we live. We don't have a Roses where we live, but it's about 10 minutes across the bridge. And they had the cutest little fruit bowl. Now in here you can actually put your oranges and apples, pears, any type of fruit in the bottom. And it has this neat little hook for your bananas. And I wasn't going to buy it, but then it was like, I really like this. And I think it would go better with the scheme that we have going on. We have a lot of silvers. We have a lot of reds and blacks in the house. And this green doesn't really go much with anything. So I picked it up. It was only $5.99, which is a really good deal. And it looks like it's way more expensive than it is. So for that price, I'm just going to say it was a good buy today. And I'm going to move the soup tureen and replace it with our new fruit basket. This is going to be trash. I just think that's really pretty. I love the detailing on that. I just think it's really, really pretty. And so I'm going to find a place to put my soup tureen. I'm not exactly sure where it's going, but it's going somewhere. So back to the stove. I'm going to give a little stir. Give another little stir to my coleslaw or my fried cabbage, my broccoli, and my rice. I'm going to add the sauce in for that in a little bit. But I am going to begin with the cooked fish that's already done. And I'm going to just add a paper towel to just kind of drain this off a little bit so that we're not having too much of the oil left over. Because we don't want the oil. We just want the fish to be cooked through. And this really traditionally does not take a long time to cook. So I'm going to pull off each piece of this fish. Sit it on this plate, and it's going to absorb the oil in there. I was thinking about making like a raspberry dressing. I may try that and see if I love it. I think with the raspberry vinaigrette that I have, and I have some fresh raspberry preserves, I think that would be really neat. But I'm not really sure how raspberry and fish go together. They might not pair well, but they might. So I think I might try it, at least just a little bit, to see if I love it. So there we have that. I'm going to pull that off, and then I'm just going to put the remaining pieces of fish in there, and that's going to cook. So I had 6 pieces of white fish. And this will be my last dish that has to cook, so I'm going to rinse this out. I am going to rinse this out. And this will go back into the dish bowl. So to this, since that is starting to steam through, I'm going to add in a little bit of the sesame ginger. This is a marinade, but I'm going to use it as a sauce tonight. I think it will be totally okay. I'm not cooking any meat that needs marinade, so I just did about 2 squeezes of that in there. And you can already hear the sizzle, and we're going to see how it turns out. We're kind of having an Asian theme, a faux Asian theme, and we're okay with faux. And again, while that's working, I'm going to work on another project really quickly, just around the corner. I do want to see if I have any any cranberries left, and I don't think I have any left. I have a few. I have a few cranberries left, so I am going to throw those in. I kind of like a little sweet and sour together. And I don't use any sugar, any white refined sugar at all. I don't even use the turbinado sugar. So I use cranberries to kind of sweeten a lot of things. So that's just a few cranberries in there. And that actually is starting to steam really good. Because my cabbage was frozen when I started out, I do want to make sure that that is all warmed through. So that's why I'm letting that cook for a few extra minutes. Now, over here I'm doing a little project. So I told you that I do have to multitask. Actually, let me take you into this room over here. So you've seen some of my kitchen, and this room is my new living room. And this particular piece over here is just a traditional bookshelf. I had in my old house, we just moved, we only been in this house about 3 weeks. So in my old house, I had a computer cabinet that had doors to close, and that's where I used for my offices. And what I use my office for is First Love Ministries. It is kind of my ministry for ladies, my women's ministry that the Lord gave me about July of 2015. And so I use this, I package a lot of CDs and send things out from that particular space. But in this house, I didn't bring that cabinet. We actually knew somebody who could use it, and we blessed them with it, and I needed a solution. So I just bought a cheap bookshelf. This is from Walmart. It's like $27 and some change. And I put in my lamp. I have I have some of my Bibles and some of the books that I'm reading right now. I have my laptop. And in this box down here, I just have mailing supplies where I just actually mail things off. I've got little CD holders where I actually send off CDs of me speaking. And so I thought this was a good cover, because really, if I'm not using my laptop, I can always put that in the bedroom. But I do have some ministry things that I'm working on tonight, and I can actually hide my printer down there. And then in that leopard bag, there is some pen and pencil supplies. But I thought I need kind of some color or some frou-frou around here. And I actually was at the dollar store, and I found these cute little flowers. They are imitation flowers. They're not real. And I found this cute little jar. And so what I'm going to do is I'm going to imitate something that I have in my living room by just making a little faux flower arrangement. And how I'm going to do that is I'm just going to take my wire cutters. I'm going to actually measure. I got 2 bunches. I got some red roses, and I'm not sure what these are called. But I got 2 bunches, and I'm just going to measure to see. I do want a little bit of hangover. And then I'm just going to take my wire cutters, and I'm going to clip that off. And I'm just going to stick that in. Now, I think that's still a little bit too tall for the glass. So I'm going to cut the bottom off. And now that's going to just sit inside of that jar. Now, I'm going to cut the stems off all of these. But while I'm standing here, I am going to come over and stir my cabbage, because this is getting nice and done. I'm actually going to turn that way down. I'm going to go ahead and flip the other fish that I put in earlier, because this is frying up really nicely, or sauteing up really nicely. Has a great color on it, so I know that the fish is done. Please make sure you cook your fish well, or to your liking or your taste, but remember that fish should be cooked well done. And I'm going to give that about another 3 minutes, and then we're going to be done with this particular portion of our meal. And then we're going to eat. So back to my little handy-dandy project, because I believe in multitasking. So I've gotten those flowers about the size that I want them. And I got 1, 2, 3, 4, I got 5, 6. I got 6 flowers on each bundle, and these were only $1 at the dollar store. So that was a great deal to me. I'm going to just pull that tag off while I get that one in there. And so I've got those all pulled off. And now I'm just going to stick them in my little jar. Push my greenery up. Stick them in my little jar. Now I think this is going to add a nice pop of color to my faux office. And that is what I'm calling it. My little faux office. It works for me. May not work for some people. But the ministry is still growing. I'm thankful that the Lord is just using me to speak into the lives of women. I don't have a church. I'm not a pastor or anything. I just felt like women needed to hear some things, be prayed for, have agreement, not have catty conversations with each other or fighting over things that are irrelevant to life. And that's what I've been doing since July 2015. I've actually been doing it longer than that, but things just kind of came to fruition about July 2015. So I'm thankful for every step. I'm thankful for the fact that the Lord has used me even though I'm a single mom. I'm thankful that He's given me different gifts and talents. People ask me all the time, you're so good at this or you're so good at that, and how do you do and how do you do? I just pray a lot and it just all works out. And that's the honest truth. I've not been skilled or trained to do anything other than what I'm doing. I was raised to be a wife and a mother, and I was a wife for a little while, for a long time actually. And now that I'm just a single mom, now that I am a mom, because I'm not just a mom, I love my kids a really, really lot, and they love me a really, really lot. So here now is my arrangement of flowers, and I'm going to just simply floof and fluff, and then I'm going to sit this on my desk, in my office, and I think that just gives it a little bit of something. Just adds a little bit more to the area. So that's my little DIY project for tonight. We're going to finish up by cleaning up our area. Never, never, never want to leave stuff just all over because that's inappropriate for our lifestyle. And I like to go to bed with a clean house and wake up to a clean house. That's how I like to do it. Alright, so we're going to cut everything off because everything is nice and done. And we're going to eat this meal. Again, it's not heavy because it is later in the evening than we would normally eat. I say that every time when we probably eat around the same time. But about 4 nights a week we're out of the house. Usually on Fridays we don't have anywhere else to go. But tonight was a special night with having the belt test. So I'm just going to pull out this piece of fish. I'm going to sit this on this plate right here. So again, everybody's going to get 2 servings. Or 2 pieces of fish, which makes 1 serving. So I'm going to do I'll do a big one and I'll do a small one. Sit that there. That's hot. Ay, ay, ay. And then I'm going to serve up a little bit of the fried cabbage, broccoli, and rice with the ginger sesame dressing. And that's going to be our meal for tonight. So thank you for joining us in our kitchen again, and we'll see you the next time. Bon appetit.